This video is sponsored by Paradox Interactive. When the Staufer dynasty fell, it not only destroyed itself, but also the Duchy of Swabia, their imperial home province. The former lands of the Staufer were torn between various Swabian minor lords, one of which were the Habsburgs. The Habsburgs ascended to the imperial throne shortly after and unsuccessfully tried to re-establish the duchy. Their failure lay in the minor lords of Swabia, but their biggest opposition came from the county of Württemberg. This is where our story begins. In 1337, Württemberg is one of the stronger South German states. It has a population of 186,000 and its capital is at the center of the rich Neckar basin. It is surrounded by minor Swabian counties and republics, so diplomacy will be the key to our success. Speaking of diplomacy, we start with a vassal, the Republic of Heilbronn. Our glorious nation is led by the Württemberg dynasty, hence the name of the country, under Count Ulrich IV. Ulrich is quite a decent fellow, but administration is not his strong suit. Under his rule we shall try and expand our county and hopefully one day achieve duchy status. For now though, we must bide our time and prepare for the onslaught that will be the Black Death. Our county barely makes any ducats and we don't even have any professional troops, fully relying on levies. To get us started, we shall expand our capital, building profitable buildings like tailors' guilds and scriptoriums, increasing our goods production and our trade. We also established a sergeantry to slowly start gaining some manpower in order to eventually begin building up professional troops. After almost 10 years, we have expanded our income and population. Things were looking great. However, it was not to last. News reached us of an epidemic starting in Crimea, the bubonic plague. It quickly traveled through Italy and eventually also reached us. We took several actions to combat it. First, we started procuring remedies in our market and we began to control the food market in order to keep food supplies for our people safe. Lastly, with the income we had built up, we started building a hospital in the capital to alleviate the situation in our most important town. However, it wasn't enough, and our county would still suffer greatly. But not just our county. Our dynasty lost its head as Ulrich IV shortly died after the plague had reached us. After the bubonic plague finally faded, our population was almost decreased by 90,000. The plague didn't just devastate us, people all over Europe had suffered, and by the end almost 100 million people died to the plague. How could one ever recover from such a devastation? Already before the Black Death had arrived in Württemberg, we had begun to expand, but not by conquest, no, diplomatically. After we had annexed Heilbronn, our strength promulgated through our 200 professional soldiers and our excellent relations with our neighbors allowed us to peacefully vassalize Oettingen, Hohenberg and Hohenzollern. Now, with Eberhard III in charge, we shall rise to even greater strengths. Since Vaihingen was located in the Neckar basin and very much disconnected from Oettingen proper, we took the liberty to take it from them. In order to minimize building expansion costs, we started expanding the stone production in Göppingen and started building masonries. After annexing Hohenberg, we vassalized Tübingen, Ellwangen and Helfenstein, finally connecting Oettingen to us. We would not only connect Oettingen with us territorial-wise, but also through building a gravel road from Stuttgart to Oettingen, connecting the two towns. Roads are important to increase proximity, which increases control. The more control you have, the more income you get from the area. If you have no control at all, well, the area will basically give you nothing. This is why roads will be necessary for expansion. Having built a road to Oettingen, we also annexed it. With this, we now control two towns. Towns are important as they allow us to build burger buildings, which increase our trade incomes. Of course, expanding by vassalization will not work forever, and especially republics are prone to never accept being a vassal of a count. This was the case with the Republic of Dinkelsbühl. So, with Parliament granting us a casus belli claim to their lands, we declared war on them. They were supported by minor German states, but their resistance was futile as our professional troops and large numbers of levies steamrolled them. 30 years ago, the bubonic plague devastated our nation. However, since then, we have recovered and expanded. We now have a population of 262,000 and our treasury is hosting over 500 ducats. The man that had led us to greatness was Count Eberhard III, but he would sadly not witness the greatest achievement of our fledgling state. Shortly after being replaced by Count Adolf Ernst, we would be granted ducal rights, firmly rising to one of the top players in the Holy Roman Empire. As we tried seeking future allies against Austria, we received devastating news. Austria has attacked our Bavarian ally together with Bohemia and yeah, sorry buddy, you're on your own. Bohemia is a very scary nation as they are probably the second or third strongest nation in Europe. Since Austria was unreachable at the moment, we started slowly eating up the weaker Swabian states bit by bit, consolidating our hold in the region. To greatly increase our income, we started building a lot of marketplaces, and with the help of the parliament, we turned Heilbronn into a town. With that, we now own 3 towns. Our next target was Augsburg, but they had a lot of allies, and not just small, weak states. No, Verona and Ansbach. Verona in particular was bad news as they had a bigger military than us, which made a war against Augsburg impossible. So we had to find other ways. One such option was to declare war on Strasbourg, which was allied with Augsburg so that we can cancel their alliances. Another option we considered was cozying up to Verona and hoping to disrupt their alliance with Augsburg. Ernst chose the latter as he wanted to prioritize claiming states that he needed to unify Swabia. One of those would be Memmingen. Luckily, they were no longer a one-province minor, so their free city status that prevented us from declaring on them was annulled. We were so focused on Augsburg that we had missed a big chance, something that will haunt us forever. Austria's ally Bohemia was unwilling to help them. Bavaria took this chance and declared war on them, taking 3 tiles we wanted. Worst of all, for whatever reason, they handed these over to Bohemia. Why? Shortly after, our ruler Ernst I died and was replaced by his son and heir Eberhard IV. He would immediately take the chance his father had wasted and fought Austria for the provinces of Waldsee, Saulgau and Villingen. After winning against Austria, our aura was apparently so immense they couldn't resist but to offer an alliance to us. No hard feelings, Austria, right? With the Austrian lands in Swabia now under our control, we were getting closer and closer to achieving our Swabian ambition. Eberhard wouldn't be as foolish as his father and abandoned the Verona plan in favor of beating up Strasbourg. This war would cost our state much, as Eberhard was so focused on the siege of Oberkirch he almost let the entire state get sieged. Also because our enemies must be cheating, getting a siege at 7%, but I don't want to point fingers. Eventually the conflict was won, but we had to recover, as Heilbronn, for example, had -75 prosperity, completely destroying our income there. So kids, always remember to first destroy the enemy army, as while you need to spend months on the siege, they get it in just 3 to 5. Whatever the case, Oberkirch was ours, and Augsburg lost all its powerful allies. Now, we just had to wait. Eberhard sadly wouldn't see the culmination of his machinations as he died and got replaced by Adolf Ernst II. I didn't name any of them, by the way. We just got 2 Eberhards getting replaced by an Adolf Ernst for some reason. Back on topic. Ernst would harvest the fruits of his father's labor by declaring on Augsburg and taking the city with the rest of their lands. Now, all that is left are 2 provinces, one of which was already under our control through our vassalage of Waldburg. The other would have to wait until we could claim it from Bregenz. One problem, Bregenz was in a personal union with some random Italian state, which made it impossible to declare on them. Just my luck, man. Since Swabia had to wait, we bided our time, expanding control over our dominion to further increase our income. We built roads connecting everything with our capital, and we expanded buildings. We were starting to gain a ton of ducats, which we spent on more buildings, further increasing our wealth. But after all that, Bregenz finally became independent again, and it allowed Adolf Ernst's son Eberhard, what a unique name, to take Immenstadt from them. And with that, Eberhard V von Württemberg proclaimed the unification of Swabia, finally bringing the duchy back into existence. But Eberhard was not done there. He expanded Stuttgart to turn the town into a city, as it should become a great capital for the duchy. He also built a university in Stuttgart. This act would allow a certain YouTuber by the name of the Enforcer guy to go there 564 years later. Anyway, the Württemberg dynasty went from a minor player in the Holy Roman Empire to the restorers of Swabia, greatly increasing the wealth of the region and their own. And with that, our story comes to a close. And if you want to write your own story, why not use the link in the description and get the game yourself? The possibilities are limitless. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video, as it is different from my usual style, as I wrote an entire script for the video, which I usually don't. But if you liked it, well, why don't you show me your support by liking the video and commenting? And of course, if you want to see more, subscribe. With that, see you next time. Goodbye.